Good morning, everyone. Steve Murray here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services, bright and early here in Omaha, 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. So we're going to talk today in kind of another good training webinar, what I would call more of a learning-based webinar on in-service non-hardship withdrawals. Of course, our presenter today will be Dave Pimper, the coach, president of Lazarus Coaching, producer himself, regular speaker for us on Tuesday mornings, usually regarding something to do to help grow your business or to further educate you and help you find new clientele one way or another. That's the case today. As you know, there's a ton of opportunity in the in-service non-hardship withdrawal from 401ks marketplace, and just a little bit more information on how to access it, how to tap into it, how to talk with your clients about it, and how to then move from talking to them about it to potentially working together with your clients. So going to be a great webinar today. Dave is going to join us here shortly if he has not already, but we're going to go ahead and start this morning and chat about a few things that we do here at IAMS to help grow your business. Before we do that, I'm going to formally introduce myself. My name is Steve Murray, Executive Vice President here at Insurance Agency Marketing Services. My primary role here is to make sure we have the right products, right incentives, right training, and the right service levels to make us a worthy partner for your business here at IAMS. So if we're falling short in any of those areas, I hope you'll let me know. Of course, today, what we're doing here this morning is really part of the training part of that. So we're going to zip through some things here really quick. If you have any questions, type them in, hit send, and we'll get them answered. There'll be a couple of polls that will come up along the way. If you could just do me the favor of answering a quick yes or no on those polls, that helps me a great deal. You're not making any commitments, by the way, when you do that. You're just letting us know that it is or is not of interest to you. So what you see on your screen before you right now is a couple programs that I wanted to make sure that you're all aware of. I'm just looking at our attendees, and I see many of you have been with us and have taken advantage of these programs, but there are probably about a third or maybe a little bit more than that of you whose names I don't recognize. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about these programs. First, a referred producer program. I call it RPM, Referred Producer Money. Pretty simple program. Most of our business over the past 32 years has really come to us via folks that have been in some way or another referred to us. We do a lot of advertising, and we certainly meet some people that way, but our most reliable and best relationships have been built on our referrals from folks that have already been kind enough to do business with us. So if you know someone that you think might benefit from anything that we do here at IAMS, I'm hoping that you'll introduce them to us, give them our name and give us their name. We'll call them up. If they get appointed with us, we're going to send you out a check for $50, which is great. You can go to lunch, or in some cases you can get dinner for you and your friend for $50. But in a lot of cases that just is a great lunch, or you can use it however you want. And then the real money comes after that. As you can see, we've done a simple calculation for if you refer 3 people to us, each write $1 million, then we're going to send you checks for $6,000 during the course of that year. And that's an ongoing. We don't discontinue that as long as they're producing with us. And a lot of times the question comes up is, well, where does that money come from? Does it come out of the referee's pocket? The answer is no. We actually take that from our standpoint out of our advertising budget, so we can spend money a lot of crazy ways to try and meet new guys. The best one is to send you a check for your referral. We love doing that. Some of the biggest checks we send now are the RPM checks. So if you know someone that might benefit from working with IAMS, give us their name. We'll do all the groundwork on it to make sure that they are aware of what we do, how we do it, how we can help them out, product, incentive, training, service-wise. And if it looks like it's a good fit and they get a point and they start doing business, we're just going to start sending you checks on a quarterly basis. Some of those checks even go out monthly now, the large ones. If it gets to be over a couple grand to somebody on a monthly basis, we're going to go ahead and send that check out. Generally, though, we send them out quarterly, and people come to expect those checks for $1,000 or $2,000 on a quarterly basis. We'd love to be sending you checks. Give us a referral and get the ball rolling on that. Another way that we send money out to folks is based on business that they do. We put money into their marketing reimbursement account. Chris Mel here in the office handles that, so you can always call Chris up and say, hey, what's the balance, my balance in my marketing reimbursement account? And we basically will match your spend dollar for dollar in anything you do marketing-wise to grow your business. So we love sending out those marketing reimbursement checks as well. I don't think as many people take advantage of that as probably should. So if you're doing mailings, you're updating a system in your office, buying a new CRM, paying for your E&O, whatever you do that you need to do to grow your business is reimbursable from a marketing expense standpoint. So give us a call and let us know how we can help you with that. New producers, we've got about, as I mentioned, probably about 25, 30 of you on here today that are new to IAMS. So for those of you that have not or have just maybe done your first case or have not done your first case with us, these new producer builders, new producer bonuses are pretty straightforward. You can claim them at any one of three levels, the 100,000, 300,000, or 500,000. Those are dollar for dollar to annuity premium. You get a little bit more credit for your single premium life business. You get obviously about 10 times credit for your regular target premium life and a lot of the other premium that you might write with us. It gives you higher credit, obviously, than the annuity premium. But most people do tend to qualify based on their annuity premium. Basically, these are designed to help reward you, and it's kind of a little bit of a lost leader for us, as you can imagine, and when you look at those, but it's to kind of reward you in a way that will help further grow your business. So our hope is that, hey, once you do your first 500,000 with us, you decide to do a seminar, and then you do another 10 or 15 or 20 or 30,000 of or 100,000 of business with us, and then that's great for you and great for us. And so look at the opportunities there. I've had folks come and say to me, hey, I see what you're doing there. This is kind of something that I do, and I'd like to have you contribute towards that. We're really open to that. Anything that you do that grows your business, we're open to contributing to. So you can see, as a for instance, at the 300,000 level, if you just wanted to deposit some money in your marketing reimbursement account, we'll deposit $2,000 in your marketing reimbursement account. So that's a really good deal, and you can take advantage of that. We would do something similar at the $500,000 level, and you can see there at the $500,000 level, there's also some ways that you can, besides doing a nice little trip for you and a guest to a Ritz-Carlton, you could also get yourself right in the seminar business with the seminar, everything you need to do the seminar, the A to Z assistance along the way for your seminar, and also your seminar mailing. So if that's something that you're interested in, I hope you'll take advantage of that as well. A lot of different ways that you can use that new producer bonus to grow your business. We hope that once you do a little business with us, what you'll find is that nobody treats your business better and nobody appreciates it more. And that will be the beginning of our long relationship that we've enjoyed with so many of our producers over the last 30 years. Life and Annuity Academy just came off of one last week. We were down in Dallas. We do about 4 of these a year, and we have 3 more lined up for this year. If you have interest in coming in, and you can see by the slide in front of you that a lot of what we do is built on the strength of 4 top producers that join us at those meetings. And those folks come and give you the opportunity to see what they do, how they do it. And I've had people say, it's different than what I've done with other groups where they come and they want me to emulate their $45 million producer. These are folks that are doing business in various different ways, seminars, using product approaches that are very strong, that anyone can implement into their business. So it's not meant to be a, hey, blow you out of the water. This is how you need to get to 45 million of premium this year. This is meant to be things you can do today to help grow your business in a affordable and efficient way. And you're going to hear from top producers, learn how to do that, which is always better than hearing from someone here at IAMS or hearing from someone at a home office that thinks they know something that could work. These are folks that are implementing these strategies, and that's how they do their business every day. We know that they can work, and they can work for you in a very affordable and efficient manner. So we also talk a little bit about what's going on in the annuity marketplace, what's happening in just the overall regulatory environment, which is not always the most exciting part, but without knowing that, you can't really make the proper plans for your business going forward. So you need to know how to do that. We work with a lot of guys that work in different types of product slots, whether it's business insurance or large case life insurance or working with business owners, a lot of things that we have guys that work with and marketing and sales ideas around that can help get you into different marketplaces. This is not Annuities 101. So certainly if you're just trying to learn the annuity market, this is probably not going to be the best opportunity for you. If you are doing some annuities, understand annuities and how they work, but just are looking for some sales and marketing things to grow your business, then the Life and Annuity Academy will be a perfect launching pad for you. We just got off one in Dallas, and as I heard, and as I always hear, is that so many of these are, built around, hey, how does this product work or that product work? Where ours is actually built more around, hey, here's a sales concept that you can use when you get home. Here's an idea that can make you some money tomorrow. It really is sales and marketing around life insurance and annuities. And so if that's of interest to you and you want to join us, that would be great. If you want more information, you should hit yes on that poll. If you've been to one more than 2 years ago and you'd like to return, we can certainly accommodate that. You should hit yes on that poll. If you're pretty happy with your sales and marketing and feel like you've got as many people to see and as many things to talk about as you need to when you see them, then the Life and Annuity Academy is not for you. You should put no on that poll. If you've been in the last couple of years, I would prefer that you put no on that poll and give me a call. Certainly, I know that a lot of people want to come back. It can be a great refresher course. Once you've sat through it, you might think, hey, I should have probably done something on that, and I didn't, so let me go back and look at it again. If that's the case for you, put no on that poll, but give me a call and we'll see if we can't fit you in. Obviously, the folks that have not been into one, we want to give them the opportunity when we can, and so we'll kind of give them first priority. But if we can find a way to get you in at one of our 2 or 3 academies that we have going on here through the remainder of the year, we'd love to do that as well. So you probably noticed there's a poll up. I see that most of you have voted. I love that. You're quick voters. I appreciate that. It looks like about 6 or 8 of you have not. If you have some question about that, go ahead and type it in. Or if you are unable to for some technical reason and you would like us to send along the information on the Academy, certainly give me a call here at the office in about an hour, and I will gladly make sure that we get that out to you. So if you put yes on the poll, what's going to happen is you're going to get a copy of the agenda, so that you can kind of see, for instance, what the last one was. And I don't want to say that they're all exactly the same, but they're very similar in what we present, obviously. We're going to take care of your expenses associated with that. So that's a question that comes up a lot. So your travel expenses, your hotel expenses, your meal expenses, we're going to take care of that. It may even be that while we're sitting around in a social atmosphere, we'll take care of your drink expenses as well. So if that's something that is of interest to you, by all means, put yes on that poll, and we will get you out a agenda and a sample agenda and a registration form. And looks like we have a few non-voters. I'm going to assume that you're just non-voters and move on from there. If there's a reason that you didn't vote, which you can't control, certainly give me a call here at the office. That's 1-800-255-5055. I'll get you out the sample agenda. I will get you out a registration form, and that will basically get you in the queue. And so what will happen then is, as we have the next 3 that we're doing this year come up, next one is in May, by the way, so we have those come up, we will see if it fits within your schedule, and if it does, then we'll invite you in. So the first step is to do that registration form so that we know that you have interest, and that's what you'll get if you put yes on this poll. All right, with that, I'm going to close my poll out. If you have questions, give me a call back, and I want to get moved on here because I probably talked about that for too long already. Okay, so let's take a second really quick and talk about a couple of other things that I think might be important to you before we move on to Dave. Number one, we're going to be down at the Ritz-Carlton in Naples, Florida. Beautiful area, great time to be in Naples. Great time to be on the beach, maybe do a little bit of golfing while we're down there. Great time to share some ideas, and there's still plenty of time to qualify. Qualification still runs through the end of June. Takes $3 million of annuity premium. You can see before you on the screen the other qualifications. We'll have a big group down there. We'd love to have you be part of that group. Okay, now we're going to talk about in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans. We have a special day today because Mr. Dave Pimper is actually in office. So I'm going to say some things about Dave that he probably wouldn't say, just because he is so humble. So Dave has been doing this since the early 80s. He's been doing seminars since the early 80s. He's probably sat in seminars or offered seminars probably about 490 times by now, and that's not an exaggeration. That's pretty darn close to the number. So he does a great job in the seminar business. He does radio show, and he is really, in our estimation, pretty good at the marketing part of his business. I would say probably a master marketer by almost any estimation. So really good at that part of the business. Besides that, he's a great technician for our guys. So he works very regularly with Social Security, and it's been a great a reference for our guys on Social Security opportunities and Social Security claiming ideas and assistance along that way. Today, he's going to talk about the opportunity available to us in the 401k in-service non-hardship withdrawal arena. So if you haven't tapped into that, it's like one of our gentlemen many years ago, we had a webinar on working with qualified funds. He was like amazed by the opportunities in the qualified funds market. This is a similar market right now because so many folks have so much money in 401ks, and most of them should probably, if it's available to them, which Dave is going to talk about how we can find that out as well, but if it's available to them, they probably should look at ways to diversify some of where they have their 401k dollars, and this is a great and easy way to do that. So Dave is going to talk about that in detail. You're going to have some questions along the way. I encourage you to type those in. I know a couple have been typed in already regarding our academies, and I'll get those answered here shortly. But type those in for Dave, and he'll get them answered as quickly as we can. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the coach, Mr. Dave Pemper.
Steve, thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is a webinar is going to take maybe in the neighborhood of about 20-25 minutes. So it's going to be a little quicker today, but though a very important topic and a great way to go in and market your practice that you may not have thought about. You know, it's interesting because, and I'm certainly not stating my woes, but we had an Annuity Academy on Wednesday, so we were down in Dallas and giving people some great marketing ideas down in Dallas on Wednesday, Thursday, fly back on Friday, and I'm in Fremont, Nebraska, and if you've read anything about Nebraska flooding, it's absolutely incredible, and my hometown of Fremont, I'm in Omaha, actually, I'm at the IAMS office right now in West Omaha, but I still have not gotten home. All of the roads have been closed. They just opened up. One opened up late yesterday, early evening, and one opened up. There's a pilot car and a half of a lane, but the flooding is just absolutely devastating. I heard today from an agricultural standpoint with corn, soybeans, livestock, delayed planting, it's going to be over $1 billion hit into just Nebraska, not counting Iowa and Wisconsin and South Minnesota of the flooding. So certainly put us in your prayers. I will be able to get back. It's been a week since I've been back in my office, but I have an office in Omaha also, so I have been working, but getting a little bit stir crazy just of seeing other people. So this is good. This is a fun topic. It's a topic that you don't think about too often of a way to prospect, but it's very timely. So in-service non-hardship withdrawals, what are they? And I normally don't read slides, but here I'm going to read this one. It's a withdrawal made from a qualified plan account before the holder experiences a triggering event. Qualified plan meaning a 401k, a 403b, 457. A triggering event such as reaching a certain age, which normally is 59 and a half, or leaving an employer is often needed to be able to withdraw funds. The in-service withdrawal distribution option allows certain plan participants, certain meaning it has to be in the plan documents, has to be in the blueprint of the plan, to allow certain plan participants to receive some or all of their retirement assets while they are still employed. And that's usually, it's called the 59 and a half rule. So you're working for IBM, you have 400,000 in your retirement plan, you turn 59 and a half. If they allow in-service non-hardship withdrawals, then you can take a portion of that money or you can take all of that money. Continue to add to the plan. Sometimes there's a 6-month wait if you take it all, but usually not. There's a lot of government plans that work that way. We work a lot of partials. I usually leave some money, like I just did one for $283,000, and we left about $1,300 in the plan to keep it seated so they could continue to add to it. The fella called me. Actually, that was from a radio show lead, and we did business. Actually, we did business with another $170,000 of his and his wife's money too. That came from Ameriprise. So what happens is that if you go in and you just ask every prospect who's at least 59 and a half and still working, do you have an in-service non-hardship withdrawal? They'll probably look at you with cross eyes and don't really understand what you're talking about, but you can explain it to them. It frees up their money. I mean, lots of times I'll have someone say, hey, I mean, I've been pretty happy with the growth aspect, but my guaranteed aspect of my 401k is minimal. I've got a stable income fund averaging 1.5% in the last years. There's not a good guarantee option. Well, the fixed index, the fix is certainly an option that comes into play that very well may get a higher rate of return. So that's kind of the definition of an in-service non-hardship withdrawal. So let's go in. Those are just kind of the bullet points. Have to be at least 59 and a half to participate. And of all the plans out there, I'm telling you what, the majority, or you're going to find out, do have non-hardship withdrawal plan provisions. The majority are going to. 401ks is for profit qualified money. 403b, non-profit. 457 is government. They're available with each one of those. So you got to talk to the custodian. So if you're finding out whether their plan actually has the availability to participate in this, you know, I used to go to the human resource director. I'd try to have the people find out. All I do now is get their statement. I get them either on the phone through a conference call, or I have them right there. We call up Fidelity, who's the custodian, Vanguard, who's the custodian, American Funds, who's the custodian, Mass Mutual, who's the custodian, Principal, who's the custodian, Ameritrade, who's the custodian. I mean, it goes Schwab, on and on. Yeah, you just talk to those guys and you got them on the phone. They'll say, "Can Dave Pimper, ask questions for you?" And they always say yes, because I informed them to say that. Yeah, and then I ask them, does it have a 59 and a half rule, in-service non-hardship withdrawal? There's many more companies now that have that than ever did. Now, if you take cash out of the plan, which you can do, well, there's going to be a 20% withholding, because the government's going to withhold 20% to go into federal income tax. They don't trust you that you're going to go in and keep that money, pay that money, Uncle Sam. But if on an indirect rollover where you take the cash made out to you, you got 60 days to put it back, can only do one every 365 days. Yeah, no, and that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is just to directly transfer that over to the new custodian, whoever that custodian is. If you got any questions at all, certainly type them in and we'll answer those for you. You may need to have spousal consent, especially if you're not using the spouse as a 100% beneficiary. But sometimes on non-hardship withdrawals, you need a spousal consent, meaning a signature. Loans have to be paid first. So if you've got loans, you can take up to $50,000, or a percentage of a loan from your 401k. I'm not endorsing that you do that, but if you do that, the loan would have to be paid off first. Got to work for at least 2 of 5 years, which almost always never comes into play. And remember that direct rollover, a direct transfer, it transfers tax-free, just like a rollover from an IRA to an IRA, and then it continues to be deferred. Okay? Why does somebody want to do that? Well, let's just take from the insurance standpoint, from guarantees. With the guarantee, a contractual guarantee of the insurance company, I mean, do people have the option to have a fixed indexed annuity in their company retirement plan? Almost always not. Even a fixed annuity Normally not. They might have a GIC, guaranteed investment contract. They might have a stable income fund, which is only available through people with qualified monies. But again, the returns, it's safe as far as the principal is concerned, but it certainly does not have a very good rate of return, not even staying up with inflation. Okay? There's more options, more investment options, more guaranteed options. Very, very important to the client. And then you know what? It just gives you a whole nother perspective of options and choices for your prospect or your client. They don't even know it's available. Doesn't mean they'll do that, but I promise you, if you ask 5 of your clients who are still working and you're going to find that 1 out of 5 and they'll do business with you. Okay? So why do companies offer an in-service non-hardship withdrawal provision? Why do they do that? Okay? So here's what happens is, think about a person who's been with the firm, so say for 35, 40 years. They're 63 years of age. The majority, the biggest asset normally that person has, unless they're a big wig with stock options and outside holdings, yeah, it's their 401k, 403b, 457. When I say 401k, I mean all three. But let's just say from a lawsuit side, liability of the company, that they didn't offer something that, they would have put more in if they would have been a good, except for money market and stable income fund. Yeah, they would have put more money in guarantee. The liability now, the client is saying the liability is on the company for not having the right assets within their retirement plan. Or they might say, hey, you just didn't, say emerging growth was a tremendous market. Hey, you just didn't have an emerging growth fund when the markets were tremendous. I could have made 30% of my money. Even though I made 18%, I'm suing you because I didn't make 30. People can sue for any reason, any outlandish reason. But you know what they say now? If you're over 50 and a half, they can say to them, hey, you had this available. You could have took it out and worked it with your broker, with your financial advisor, with your insurance agent. Yeah. Didn't have a good guarantee. You could have took the money out. You didn't have to keep it with us. And the funny thing is that the companies would rather have you not take it out. They're not posting that this is available. They're not having workshops that they don't even know it's there. But if you ask and you find out and you tell them, why don't you think because they want to keep that money normally in the plan. They're either making money from that, the custodian's making money from that. And I will tell you right now, when someone says, I am not paying any fees in my 401k, the hidden fee is the administrative fee. If it's a big plan, you're still paying 50, 60 basis points most likely. If it's a mid-sized plan to smaller, you could easily be paying 1 to 1.5%. And those are hidden inside charges. Nothing to do with the internal cost of whatever fund or ETF you're using. It's that administrational charge, again, that they kind of hide. And really, if you dig down far enough into the prospectus or plan documents, you can find it. Okay? Phased retirement. Yeah, lots of people kind of start reducing work hours. That means they're not making as much money from the company, but maybe they're doing it. Maybe they can still work. If they work 25 hours from 40 hours, they can still get benefits. So they reduce their workload, and now they're going to go in and with the 401k, you can't take money out normally, but if you roll it over into a non-service or in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan, you certainly can. So it's kind of that phased retirement. Then I talked about employer liability is a big thing. So let's go in and talk a little bit about advantages of an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan, or you'll just call it an in-service plan. Now, I'm telling you right now, in the day-to-day marketing and prospecting of our prospects and our clients, I will tell you, if you just go to your book of business, say you have 100 clients, you find out who's still working. I mean, most of my folks are pre-retired and retired. I still have folks working, but if you just ask this easy question, do you have an in-service non-hardship withdrawal privilege on your 401k? They're going to say, huh? And then you say, well, what that means is it gives you flexibility, gives you options. Whether you do it or not, it's something that you should know. And I think it's as strong. I told my wife, who's not a negotiator, I came from the car business. I mean, I got in the financial service arena when I was 25. I started selling cars, working for my dad in sixth grade, running titles with my little bike with baskets. Got into car sales in 1972 when I was a junior in high school. My dad sold the dealership when Chrysler was having the problems. My grandpa owned a car dealership for 57 years in a small town called Howells, Nebraska. So when Dad sold, I got in the financial service arena. But I've always been kind of a negotiator. I told my wife, if you just ask those words when you're buying something of size or in some kind of a place that will negotiate, like cars, or it could be at a flea market. If you just say, what is your best price? If that's all you ask, you know what? You do it through your lifetime, you can save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars. It's kind of like asking in McDonald's, would you like fries with that? Remember that years and years and years ago? One of the most popular add-on lines ever. If you just go in and do that again in the financial service arena and ask your prospects and clients who are still working, do you have, excuse me, I'm sorry, do you have a non-hardship withdrawal provision on your 401k or 403b or 457? You will not believe of the type of and excuse me, I've got to sneeze again. I'm sorry. So what happens is just asking that question can really be a positive of what you come up with. What's the advantages of this? Yeah, you got more investment or more financial choices or classes or guarantees. You have full control of your money. The money's not controlled by the investment company at your work, but it's an individual retirement amount. Normally, you don't get professional guidance. We offer that. That's what we do. We're advisors. Retirement income or distribution features. How many times do you see income riders in 401ks on any kind of investment? No, they don't have that. We certainly can go in and plan for income planning much, much better on the outside. Beneficiaries option, not always, but normally 401k plans, qualified ERISA plans are not going to have an option for you to have your heirs inherit that money and stretch out the benefit. Why is that? Well, the reason is because they have to go in and put extra work of what the RMDs are, the letters out to the people. You're no longer working for the company and making money. So most, not all, but most 401ks don't have this option. IRAs, you darn right they have that option. So there are disadvantages of rolling over. What is one? Well, may not be the best thing, but you're familiar with those mutual funds. You're familiar with that company stock. It's the familiarity. You get comfortable and you just don't want to make a change. So that's certainly, you could look at that as a disadvantage. Fees could be higher outside of your 401k because the 401k has a large amount of money. Maybe they only use ETFs. Yeah, it could be. But you know what? It could be that they're higher. It could be that they're higher, the 401k. How much internal fee is there in a fixed indexed annuity? Zero. There's caps or participations, but as long as you don't have an income living benefit, there's absolutely no cost. There's surrender charges. So there's things that limit your return, but there's no internal fee. There's a holding period, but no internal fee. How about a fixed annuity? No, there's no cost internally. There's a stated interest rate. So fees could be higher, but you know what? They could be lower on the outside also. Maybe you want all of your investments in one account. Sometimes 401ks are good for that. There could be a transfer cost. And one other thing that I don't think is up here, let me just see if it's in the last. I don't think it is. No. What happens is that, and I'll go back on this because I think it's important. Well, you know what? I guess I can't. I'm sorry. But one of the things too is there's a 55 rule with a 401k, but you can't be working with the company. Then you can get your money at 55. You shouldn't roll it over all into an IRA if you need to get to your money and you're not working for the company. But if you're working for the company, then a in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan can really give you some flexibility, no doubt about it. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the steps of how to prospect. Say it's a prospect. He comes on in like today. I'm in Omaha. I've not been back to Fremont, which is 25 miles away. Haven't been back in because of the flooding. I am going to get back in today. So it's going to take a while because there's pilot cars over. Now there's actually two bridges that you can get over on one lane. But I got 3 appointments today. 2 are from radio. 1 is from Social Security workshop. Actually, I have a Social Security workshop this Thursday in Omaha. Another 24 people are coming to that. So what happens is that we go in and I ask for the statement, and we request that they bring those in ahead of time. But I request that 401 statement. Then I want to ask the prospect if they're still working. Hey, does your company XYZ, do you know if you've got an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan? And what are they going to say? What are you talking about? I've never heard of that. Doesn't always. I had a guy that had almost $1 million, a pretty darn big plan, and he knew he's on October the 12th of this year, he turns 59 and a half. And he does not have an advisor, has no money, has $10,500 in a money market. Other than that, all of his investable net worth is in that 401k. Been the 36 and a half years. Beautiful. He's looking for an advisor. Beautiful. That actually came from a radio. And I do a radio show. We're marketing that. It's brand new. I mean, I've done it for 6 months now. And that and seminars have been really good lead generators. So what happens is if he did know about it. And so I'm certainly staying in touch with him until that time period. And hopefully we'll move. We may not move all million, but could we move 200,000-300,000? You darn right we can. Then I call the plan sponsor. So Fidelity's the big boy. Vanguard's a big boy. So is American Funds, Mass Mutual, Principal. Those are all big custodians. Ameritrade could be. Schwab could be. You call them and just say, hey, is that available? Do they have a 59.5 rule? And I would say small and big plans, 60% of the plan, more than half will have it. Then don't have to work with all the money. The last 2 that I've done have been the last month and a half. One for 282,000. I left a little in there, and then one was for about almost 600,000, and we left 5,000 in there. She's an engineer with Valmont here in town in Omaha. But partials, I mean, I can't tell you how many $100,000 and $200,000 I've done and left the rest of the money in there. They like that idea, and I always say that I'm going to complement what you already have. If they have XYZ growth fund, I'm not going to put an XYZ growth fund. If they have XYZ, I'm not going to use XYZ. And I did a lot of that with fixed indexed annuities just because they don't have a very good guarantee in most ERISA plans. So I talk about giving them the options they don't have now. Yeah. Remember, they have to have worked there for at least, all those people that have money in the plans have been there longer than 5 years, but they have to be at least 2 of the last 5 years to qualify. And I say make their portfolio better. Try to go in and complement what they don't have. If they're being overly aggressive, have more conservative. If they're being hardly ever is anybody, but this one guy had every bit of his money in money market. You know what that was earning him? 40 basis points, 0.4%. I mean, I could do a 5-year fixed and get 3.5 to 4. But I did fixed index because I could cap out at 6% on a cap or 6.5% on a cap. And he really liked that idea. Okay. So if you're not asking, you're leaving money on the table, I will assure you. Judge Billings Learn Hand. Yeah. From the United States Second Court of Appeals, Helvering versus Gregory. I love this. He says, anyone may so arrange his affairs that his taxes shall be as low as possible. Nobody owes any public duty to pay more than the law demands. Well, why do I bring this up when we're talking about in-service non-hardship withdrawals? Because when you transfer money out, and you can do as many transfers you can do as many direct transfers as you want from custodian to custodian. Fidelity, lots of times, like this guy that had his money in money market, Fidelity goes on in and they actually cut the check and mail it to him. It's the only way their plan will do it. But the check's not made out to the investors, not made out to him. It's made out to the new custodian for the benefit of him. So what happens is that's still a direct transfer. You can do as many of those you want. It's not a taxable event. And that's one of the big things here. It transfers tax-free and it continues to be tax-deferred. Remember, nobody owes any public duty to pay more than the law demands. There's 2 ways to make money. Well, there's 3 ways. You can make money, your money can make money, or you can pay less taxes. If you save $1 in taxes, that's exactly like making and earning and revenuing $1. No doubt about it. And in an IRA direct rollover, and that's what we're talking about, direct transfer, tax-free transfer, there's no taxation, then you continue the tax deferral. With an IRA option, you're showing that, and I'm repeating a little bit to hit the point home, but there's more investment, there's more financial strategies. And if it's from the insurance standpoint, the fixed or the fixed indexed annuity. There's living benefit riders. You don't have that with your plan. You're able to consolidate into the IRA if you want to take multiple monies on in. Mandatory distributions are going to go in and happen at 7.5, just like it does with a 401k if you're not working there. Now, if you're still working at the firm and it has a 401k and you're over 7.5, no, you don't have to take distributions and you can continue to put in. So that's something that you need to think about. But again, if they're over the age of 66, normally they can get to their money. The 59.5 rule, in-service non-hardship withdrawal rule, does not come into play. RMDs are at 7.5 on an IRA, of course, but you have control of your money. And you don't have full control of expenses, when you're in a 401k and the options when you're in a 401k, or maybe even the company has lesser options. And that potential to stretch, normally you're not going to find that in a company plan, but you certainly can in a individual retirement account or a Roth IRA to rolling on over. I had a guy strictly do business with me because he absolutely wanted his 3 kids to have the availability on a pretty large company plan to be able to inherit that money and stretch it out over their life expectancy. Very, very important. Get a load of this. If you go in and invest $1, $10, $100, $1,000, but if it goes up 10% the first year, 10% the second year, 10% the third year, and you have a loss of 10%, you have to go in and gain 34% to average 10% a year. I'm a big believer of avoiding big losses, and that's what guaranteed contracts through insurance, fixed index, fixed, etc., can do for you. Get a load. If you lose 50%, you got to gain 100% to get even. If you lose 10%, it takes 11% to get back to even. And if you lose nothing, you don't have to gain anything to get back to even. This is an area that most people in 401ks don't have volatility control options like that. I always say it's not how good the good years are, it's how good the bad years are. As we're finishing up here, Will Rogers says, it's not the return on my investment that I'm concerned about, it's the return of my investment. How true is that? My fellow that I did that last in-service non-hardship withdrawal had that in money market for years, just waiting for the right time, earning a pitiful 30, 40 basis points. Yeah, I presented over 490 seminars. I coach you through this. I answer questions for you. So if you got questions, I do a lot of seminar marketing, a lot of radio. We got a brand new radio show that's really generating a lot of good leads, and people are coming on board with that. So if I can help you from a marketing standpoint, certainly give us a call. There's a lot to think about, and we're going to put up a poll here just in a second. But you know what? When you're looking at that near retiree and that retiree, that's the market that I work. That's where that in-service non-hardship withdrawal provision can be so darn important. So it's like the thinker, should I start asking the simple question of, do you have a 59.5 in-service non-hardship withdrawal? Just like McDonald's asked the question, would you like fries with that? Because it can be that powerful for your client to know that there are options out there. Steve, is there the poll that's up right now on this yet, or not quite yet? Okay, that'll be great. Steve Murray is going to go over and take the mic. We're putting up the poll. If you answer yes on this, and I hope you do, we're going to sit down for 20, 25 minutes with myself, and I'm going to answer any questions that you have about in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans, any questions that you have concerning the ins and outs of that. Also from a marketing standpoint, if you're not having a kind of a consistent generation of leads and prospects coming into you on a daily basis, ask yourself why not. What happens is that what you know, when it comes to seminar marketing, no, it's not for everyone, but we're looking at costs that are way less than they were just years ago by using, maybe integrating social media, which wasn't around, that we've had some very good testing success with. How about radio? Hosting your own radio show. Yeah, not a lot of people do that, but we've got a track record and it's proven. I'm averaging 3 appointments, not leads, not prospects, 3 appointments a week from that. So if you'd like to talk about in-service non-hardship withdrawals, if you'd like to talk about seminar marketing, like to talk about a radio show, being your own radio show host, being the celebrity in your locale. We've got 6 or 7 folks from the Annuity Academy and a couple prospects from last week that all have interest in their area. And you know what? It's much less expensive per month than you would think to be on with Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Dave Ramsey, Kim Commando, Rick Edelman, etc. So if you'd like to go and talk to me, certainly mark yes. Lynn will call you. Have a telephone number that's good to reach you at. Lynn or Lori or Amy, one of my administrators, will call you tomorrow when we get the list, and we'll set up a good time that's good for you, that's good for me, working around the appointments that I have. But I tell you, picking someone's brain, not that I know everything, just ask my kids. But I will tell you what, when it comes to marketing, financial service arena, there's a lot of ways to go in and market your practice that you may not have thought of, or maybe you didn't think that you could afford. I'm going to turn this on over to Steve. I appreciate you being here today, and Steve will kind of have the finishing remarks, and we'll answer any questions that have been asked also.
Thank you, Dave. Great presentation as always. Just sitting here listening to you, it kind of gets me excited about the opportunity there, specifically around non-hardship withdrawals. I know you've had some good luck with it in your practice. I know I talked to a lot of guys that have similar good fortune with working with that. Some of the larger cases that we see come from that, and I think it's just because there's just so much money in 401ks, and the logic around maybe making a change, or at least doing a little bit of diversification around the 401k just makes a lot of sense to people the WorldComs and Enrons and things like that kind of made the government look at the potential, or where it made sense to be able to do some of the a little bit of diversity in your 401k really makes a whole lot of sense to people when you talk about it. So great to have you all aboard with us today. So we do have a couple of questions. The first regards Academy. So the last one I think I mentioned was in Dallas. We'll do some of them here in Omaha. So if you would like to attend one in the Omaha area, we'll probably have one of them in Omaha this year, and we would certainly love to have you come and visit our home office here in Omaha. The next one coming up is actually going to be in Des Moines, Iowa, and it looks like one of you is within driving distance and asking about whether we'll take care of that expense as well. Yes, we do. What we do is we reimburse your driving expenses at the IRS level, which is somewhere in the 54 cents per mile area. So from that standpoint, we only have slots in the next one we're doing. We only have slots for 30 people. So those fill up fast, as you might imagine. I expect it probably by the end of this month, middle of April. The one for May will be completely filled up. So if that particular one is of interest, I would certainly let us know right away on that. So the question here, and I think this probably comes from Dave's presentation. So the non-hardship withdrawal provision, Dave, does that apply to other than 401ks?
Yeah, that's a good question. I use 401k as a catch-all on company and ERISA plans, but 401ks, which is for profit, so if it's a company like IBM or Microsoft or Kellogg's, they'll have a 401k. Nonprofits are like hospitals, could be schools. They're nonprofit, okay? But it's set up, they're twin brothers and sisters. There's teeny bits of differences, but hardly any. And then there's 457 government plans. That actually is a deferred comp plan, but it works very similar looking down on 401ks and 403b. So when I say 401ks, it's really 401ks, 403bs, 457s. That's what you can do. So we're not talking about SEPs or simples, HRs. We're talking IRAs. We're talking about 401k, 403b, and 457s. That's a good question. So hopefully that makes that a little bit more clear to you.
Continuing on with questions here, Dave. So are there limits usually to what companies will allow to be put into, to be taken out of the standard 401k and to be put into other than the 401k plan, like an IRA?
The only time that there could be a limit if it's in the plan documents, that I've seen this before, it's rare, but it can happen, where they may only let you take out the money that you contributed. They don't let you take out the match. I've only seen that happen twice, so it isn't very common. I have also seen it where if you take out all the money, this was actually on a 457 government, on a thrift plan, where if you took out all the money, you could not add to that plan to add on a paycheck amount for 6 months. So what we did on that was we just took out everything but about $10,000 and left it there. And as long as there was money seated in that plan, then they could continue. So it normally is not going to play a factor, but that's when you call the custodian. So when you call Fidelity or you call Principal, whoever is the custodian, the retirement custodian for that plan, they'll have those plan documents right there. So you ask. Now, if there's loans, they want those loans paid off first, okay? So there are some, you've got to just ask that custodian. They'll give you all that information right when that client's there on speakerphone or you got them conferenced on in. So that's a good question, but most of the time, there's no limitation. Most of the time, you can take all or a portion, but I will tell you right now, it's easier from a marketing standpoint. If they have 400,000, if you take 100 or 200,000, you could take, and I have taken all of it. I've never taken every penny. I always leave a little bit in there just to keep it seated. But I'll tell you what, if you're not asking for this type, if it's available, you're truly leaving money on the table as far as working with that client or prospect, because you can introduce them to something, a choice, an alternative that they didn't even really know they had available to them.
Thank you, Dave. So this is the last question. So folks that have a 401k from a former employer, can they move those to a qualified plan at any time, or do they have to be 59 and a half? And are those sometimes limited in the amounts that you can take out, or can they all be moved?
What happens with an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan, you have to be working for that employer. So if it's a dormant 401k, you know what? What happens is you can move it. You can absolutely move it to an IRA, but it's not an in-service non-hardship withdrawal. If it's dormant, they cannot go in and force you to keep that money there. Now, if it's under $5,000, they can force you to take it out. But once you're not working for that company longer, unless for some wild reason, and I've seen this happen, but not very often, up in Detroit when they had all of their problems up there on the government plan, there were some companies that froze 401k assets. That's again comes down to that control. When you're in, no one's gonna freeze your individual retirement account, your IRA. So what happens is if it's dormant, absolutely. Unless something wild from a legal standpoint, absolutely you can move that money. What happens is that the in-service non-hardship withdrawal, that always revolves around you're still working for the company, you're 59 and a half or over, and you're under the age of 66. Normally, if you're working for the company and you get to be 66 years old, it opens up automatically that you can take your monies out because they want that flexibility. So that's a good question. Again, I can't impress upon you enough. If you're not asking, you ain't getting. Okay?
Great. That is the last of our questions. Unless anyone has any others that they would like to ask very quickly, we will certainly entertain those. I've noticed that we still have a few folks that have not voted. It's probably going to be past time that we can do that unless you vote here in the next 30 seconds or so. So if you have interest in chatting with Dave on any of these, whether it's you want to learn more about the radio show, more about non-hardship withdrawals in general, even to have a Social Security question or opportunity that you want to discuss with Dave, certainly hit yes, and we'll make sure that someone from his staff sets up a quick phone call for you. Otherwise, if you hit no, that's fine. We appreciate it. We don't want to waste your time nor ours on these questions. And finally, if you were unable to vote for some other reason, but you do want to chat with either myself or Dave, just give me a call here at the office. I don't have that number up, but it's 800-255-5055. We'd love to chat with you. That's what we're about here at IAMS, is making sure that you have the trainings and products and the incentives and the service that you need to be successful. We want you to feel like you have all the advantages of maybe having belonging to a captive organization without the captivity. So all the service that you need, all the products that you need, all the camaraderie and feeling like you belong, we want to make that available here for you at IAMS, and we're pretty good about that. So give us the opportunity to help you. Dave, I want to say thank you for joining us today. As always, you've done a great job and a great benefit to so many of our guys, and we appreciate that greatly. And finally, I want to thank all of our attendees today. The fact that you take a little bit of time out of your day to learn a little bit more, to be a better asset to your clients and your business, means a lot to us. We'll go the extra mile to help out you and people like you whenever we can here at IAMS. So give us a call here at the office, 800-255-5055. Thank you all for joining us today. If you want to hear a recording of this event, you'll have the opportunity as well after the meeting. So if there's something that maybe you want to review or go over, that will be available, a recording of this event to you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of the IAMS family, and have a great finish to your sales week.